Hello hockey fans, Oddman Rush here and welcome back to another video. On Monday, January 8th, 2024, the Philadelphia Flyers traded prospect Cutter Gauthier to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for defenseman Jamie Drysdale and a second-round draft pick. Now, while a franchise trading a prospect is a pretty routine move in the NHL, this trade quickly became the talk of the league, thanks to the caliber of player that was dealt, the limited time that he had spent with his draft team, as well as the surprising chain of events that prompted this move. But why was this trade so controversial? Why was Gauthier dealt to Anaheim, and why has this move faced such backlash? Well, let's take a closer look at the whole situation and try to figure it out, shall we? So in today's video, join me as we explain the Cutter Gauthier Controversy. So let's start by explaining who Gauthier is and how he ended up joining the Flyers organization. Born in Skellefteå, Sweden on January 19th, 2004, Cutter Gauthier spent his pre-draft years with the US National Development Program, where the American-Swedish forward worked his way up from the junior team to the national squad over a 2-year span. Thanks to his 65 points in 54 games during the 21-22 season, and thanks to his strong performance at the Under-18 World Championships, Gauthier would enter the 2022 NHL entry draft with quite the resume, prompting many scouts to project him being selected somewhere in the top 10 of the draft order. Once the event rolled around and the first round began on July 7th, Gauthier wouldn't wait long to be chosen, as he was taken 5th overall by the Philadelphia Flyers. Following his selection, Gauthier spent the 22-23 season with Boston College of the NCAA, where he made quite the first impression by potting 37 points in 32 games during his freshman year. So what's happened between Gauthier and the Flyers? Why is a 5th overall draft pick from less than 2 years prior no longer with the team that chose him? Well, following his selection at the draft on July 7th, 2022, Gauthier seemed pretty pumped to be a Philadelphia Flyer, as he told reporters that his mum had grown up as a Flyers fan, and he boasted that he was born to play for the Orange and Black just moments after being selected at the event. However, this excitement would disappear less than a year after the draft, as in May of 2023, Gauthier was selected to play for Team USA during the 2023 World Championships. And while the 18-year-old produced a strong showing at the tournament with 9 points in 10 games, it is reported that during the competition, Gauthier had informed the Flyers that he no longer wished to play for their organization. Having just been informed that their premier pick at the draft wanted to cut ties with them, the Flyers attempted to grant Gauthier's request and ship him elsewhere, as Philly attempted to trade Gauthier to the Montreal Canadiens during the 2023 NHL entry draft. Though the Flyers attempted to acquire Montreal's 5th overall selection at the event, the Habs ultimately declined the offer and Gauthier remained with Philadelphia. Despite still being a member of the Flyers, Gauthier had the chance to make the most of his situation by attending Philadelphia's development camp, where he could further refine his overall game while getting in some reps with Philadelphia's staff too. However, once camp arrived the following month, it was revealed that Gauthier would not be attending, citing his jam-packed schedule during the previous season and a desire to spend some time with his family as his reasons for this decision. Now, in his defense, Gauthier had played a lot of hockey during the 23-24 season, so I can understand why he would want to skip development camp in order to spend some time with his loved ones, especially since he was taken 5th overall the year prior and he had clearly shown improvement at every level that he had played in since his selection. That said, Gauthier was Philadelphia's best prospect, and on the outside, he appeared to be a player who was gunning for a roster spot for the coming year, so this decision certainly raised a few eyebrows amongst Flyers fans. Having skipped development camp, Gauthier returned to Boston College for the current 23-24 season, where the 19-year-old forward seems to be picking up right where he left off, as he has currently notched 23 points in 17 games this season. In the midst of this run with Boston, Gauthier was selected to represent Team USA at the 2024 World Junior Championships, and while the forward would score at well over a point-a-game pace as the alternate captain of the team en route to a gold medal at the event, the former 5th overall pick would be pretty busy off the ice too. According to reports from the Flyers management, several members of Philadelphia's front office had attempted to meet with Gauthier during the tournament in an attempt to clear the air and change his mind about wanting to be traded. However, team officials claimed that they had, quote, a lot of trouble meeting with Gauthier and that the player had shown little interest in talking to his NHL organization both at the competition and while playing at Boston College too. Having clearly doubled down on his refusal to join the Flyers and having ghosted his team during the World Juniors, just a few weeks later on January 8, 2024, it was announced that Gauthier had been traded to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for defenseman Jamie Drysdale and a second-round draft pick. Now, as you can imagine, Philadelphia fans weren't too happy with Gauthier, as the information that was provided shortly after the deal made it pretty clear that Gauthier had no interest in playing for the Orange and Black. These feelings were especially amplified due to Gauthier's previous comments about being born to be a Flyer at the draft, only for him to request a trade less than a year after his selection. Oh, and it didn't help that a video surfaced of Gauthier claiming that him being drafted by the Flyers wouldn't go over very well since he grew up a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and we all know how much those two teams love each other, don't we? Not only that, fans were also quick to voice their distaste over yet another player from the NCAA forcing their way out of their NHL organization before they had played a single game in the show, as previously showcased by several current players in the league, including Adam Fox, Jimmy Vesey, and Kevin Hayes. Many fans were quick to point out that being drafted by an NHL franchise and playing in the league is a privilege and not a right, and that players should at least prove that they are worthy of a full-time roster spot in the show before throwing their weight around and making such lofty demands. Now on the flip side, several people were quick to point out that Flyers fans had no problem with a player refusing to play for an organization when they were the beneficiaries of the situation, like when Eric Lindros refused to play for the Quebec Nordiques and he was later traded to the Flyers as a result. However, this situation isn't quite the same, as Lindros had informed Quebec that he wouldn't play for them before the Nordiques drafted him, only for the team to go and draft him anyway. So it isn't quite apples to oranges here, as Gauthier had initially been honoured to be drafted by Philly, only to change his mind shortly after the event. Now, if this whole situation wasn't ridiculous enough for you already, a Flyers reporter and blogger claimed that Kevin Hayes had helped orchestrate Gauthier's exit from Philly, as Gauthier had previously stated in an interview that he had a pretty strong relationship with Hayes during their brief time together in Philly. This accusation led to Hayes receiving some pretty nasty messages from numerous Flyers fans, and it said that he even received several death threats too. The crazy thing about all of this though was that the reporter had no concrete evidence to support his claims, so it's highly likely that he just made the whole thing up either for clicks to his website or for attention on social media. And just how proud of himself he was when John Tortorella lit him up during a pre-game press conference, I'm not even going to grace this video by naming the guy and giving him the attention that he so desperately wanted. Not cool, buddy. Not cool at all. But what about Cutter Gauthier? What did he have to say about all of this? Well, in the days following the trade, Gauthier would answer various questions as to why he wanted to leave Philly, as well as respond to some of the claims that had been made in the days that followed. For example, the forward explained that his decision to depart from the Flyers wasn't due to one specific reason, but instead due to him experiencing, quote, multiple reoccurring issues that he had seen during his 2 years within the Flyers organization. Not only that, the 19-year-old forward said that everything, quote, hit me all at once, and left him thinking, quote, I can't move forward with this, prompting him to make a decision that was, quote, best for my future. Oh, and Gauthier also denied that Kevin Hayes had anything to do with his decision, and he is also said to have received some death threats from Flyers fans too. Do people forget that we're talking about hockey here, as in the game hockey? Whoever sends death threats over this kind of stuff really should consider therapy or some kind of professional help, because something is clearly not right in their heads. So where do things go from here? Well, as of right now, Cutter Gauthier is now a member of the Anaheim Ducks organization. Since he is expected to play the rest of the season with Boston College, it's likely that Gauthier will play his first NHL game with Anaheim either later this year once the NCAA season finishes, or during the following 24-25 NHL season, provided he earns a spot on the Ducks roster out of training camp. However, given his controversial exit from the Flyers, and given his rather ominous reasoning for doing so, will Gauthier be happy with Anaheim? While it sounds like his issue was solely with the Flyers organisation, you can't fault people for questioning whether Gauthier will force his way out of the organisation if he's no longer happy there. After all, he's done it once before, what's to stop him from doing it again, right? That said, I highly doubt that Gauthier will be looking to cut ties with the Ducks anytime soon, especially given just how amplified this whole situation has become and how scrutinised Gauthier has been as a result, at least in my opinion anyway. On the flip side, the Philadelphia Flyers will look to move past this whole ordeal as quickly as possible and aim to follow through on their surprisingly strong start to the season. Now, given that Gauthier had told the Flyers that he didn't want to play there, and given that the team were kind of backed into a corner as a result, I think Philadelphia did the right thing by moving Gauthier now before anything else happened and their relationship got even worse. After all, they were able to acquire a young, NHL-ready defenseman in Jamie Drysdale, and they also picked up a second-round draft pick too. I highly doubt that they would have secured a similar return had the details of their rocky relationship been leaked to the public, and Philadelphia were negotiating from a position of even further weakness. By taking swift action and striking while the iron was hot, Philadelphia secured a pretty impressive haul that benefits their roster both immediately and in the future too, while also parting ways with a player who clearly didn't plan to play for them anytime soon. So nice job, Philly, you guys did good. Whether Cutter Gauthier reaches his potential and whether he becomes a league superstar remains to be seen. But if he's going to earn his place in the NHL, he won't be doing it with the Philadelphia Flyers. And on that note, I'm going to end today's video. That was a look at the Cutter Gauthier Controversy. What do you guys think about this whole ordeal? Do you agree with Gauthier's decision, or do you think he should have stuck around in Philly instead? Also, what do you guys think about the response to this news by the overall hockey world? Do let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys have to say, but thank you very much for watching guys, I do hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Bexy93, Burned Retinas, Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, Raquel and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.